It says live video is starting. Welcome to the last Sunday school of May. I hope you're ready for a test. The test is, what are we going to do to survive June? Anyway, I posted a video. Well, it's a video. It's a YouTube of the Beatles. She's Leaving Home this morning on my Facebook page, because it was about this time of year, 55 years ago, that Constance was preparing and was packing and it was getting ready to leave her girlhood home, her childhood home in Nebraska, and fly to California to begin our adventure together. Now, 55 years ago in February, right on her birthday, I had impulsively proposed to her over the telephone. I was in California, coming down on a massive dose of LSD, where I had the vision that it was just the cosmic thing to do to ask Constance to marry me. I called her on the phone. It happened to be her birthday. I said, let's get married. And she said, okay. And she didn't know why she said okay. I'm not sure why I asked. But anyway, she prepared and was preparing about this time 55 years ago to just pack up, fly to California, and eventually marry me. And her parents didn't believe it. They just couldn't believe it. And as a matter of fact, they refused to believe it. And when she packed up and left, it more or less was a shock to them. Just like the parents in the song, She's Leaving Home. And what is extra cosmic about it was the fact that that song first came out on the radio in Nebraska on the day she was being driven to the airport. And it's hard for people our age to properly explain what cosmic significance the soundtrack of the mid and late 1960s, how cosmically important the music of the day seemed to serve as the soundtrack of that colorful and turbulent period. But be that as it may, it was actually June 15th when her plane arrived, and we'll probably observe something. We call that our shack up anniversary, because that's when we started to live together, and we were eventually married by a stage hypnotist who I was a fellow student at Orange Coast College, in my brother's living room in Costa Mesa on November 9th. But anyway, enough about me. I'm going to talk for Sunday school. I'm going to talk about angels and what they are really, and in particular, Enochian angels. Last night, I did the third in my series of workshops for Chinese students. Everything I said was translated into Chinese. It It's a very interesting process. But I was trying to explain in as few words as possible what what is meant by the kabbalistic four kabbalistic worlds and the four kabbalistic parts of the soul, and the whole meaning behind this Yod He Vav He thing, and how it refers to levels of human consciousness. And it's difficult enough to explain it because it's so profoundly simple. It's also terribly hard to explain in so many words, and especially when you're trying to go through a translator. But anyway, I was racking my brains. I said, somewhere I explained it really fast and in just a few words. And I was looking over all the material that I wrote, looking for keywords and searching for where it was. And I found the little essay that I had written that sort of encapsulates it. And it was in the introduction to a book by my friend Dr. John DeSalvo, The Lost Art of Enochian Magic. And I dug it out, and I'm going to share that with you this morning. I was gratified beyond words when Dr. DeSalvo asked me to pen a few words for his marvelous work. I can say without hesitation that the reader is in for an exciting, provocative, and enlightening experience. For some of you, it may also be the beginning of an adventurous journey of self-discovery. It's a work that I believe could only have been written in the morning hours of the 21st century, when advanced scientific thought is promising us an unprecedented understanding of the cosmos and the nature of matter and energy. As our astro and quantum physicists draw closer to the holy grail of a theory to explain it all, can it be possible that we are approaching a level of inquiry so profound that we'll soon be required to dramatically expand our level of consciousness in order to process the multi-dimensional answers? I believe the answer is yes. And as we penetrate ever deeper into these new frontiers of thought, we are confronted with the same fundamental issues and challenges that have faced spiritual scientists since the dawn of human consciousness. How was the universe created? How can it be limitless? What sustains it? Will it ever end? If so, how? What is the nature of time, space, reality, and consciousness? Who and what am I? Try as it might to do otherwise, when her musings soar to these heights, science is forced by the limitation of word images to evoke the metaphoric language of mythology, mysticism, and magic in her attempt to even discuss these transcendental matters. Why then should it be thought unscientific for us to explore these same issues directly by magical means? After all, for tens of thousands of years of human history, right up to the 18th century, magic was science. Magic is the mother of mathematics, astronomy, biology, chemistry, architecture, and medicine. It does us no good to argue that mythology, mysticism, and magic are irrational and illogical, for indeed the mysteries of astrophysics and quantum mechanics appear to be so as well. For the better part of 1,000 years, adepts of the Holy Kabbalah, Judaism's esoteric science of the soul, have, by means of a variety of curious techniques, endeavored to use the mind to transcend the mind. For the sake of convenience, they view God as the absolute and supreme consciousness of the universe, and individual humans as miniature reflections of the supreme consciousness. Quote, man made in the image of God, unquote. Just as my reflection in the bathroom mirror lives only because of my living presence, so too do I exist as a reflected unit of the supreme consciousness. My seeming separation from God is as illusionary a phenomenon as my reflection in the mirror mistakenly believe itself real and somehow estranged from the physical me on the other side of the looking glass. Because God and humans are two aspects of the same consciousness, the Kabbalists view us both as being divided, or better word for it, categorized into 4 main levels of consciousness. The lowest level, as an aspect of the supreme consciousness, is the material plane itself. For a specific example, a rocking chair. For us, as an aspect of individual consciousness, this level manifests as our physical bodies. The next level, next higher level, as an aspect of supreme consciousness, is the formative plane, where exist the patterns of everything that will manifest on the material plane. A specific example of that would be the idea or concept of a rocking chair. Now, the Kabbalists call this the world of angels. And for us, as an aspect of individual consciousness, this level is our intellect or our mind's eye. Are you following this? Above this, the next world above this, as an aspect of the supreme consciousness, is the creative plane, where the great general principles of the universe are generated. So a specific example is the concept of just sitting down. And the Kabbalists call this world the world of archangels. And for us, as an aspect of individual consciousness, this level manifests as the mysterious powers of intuition. As an example, when a mother wakes in the night when her child has been in an accident far away, the ability that transcends logic, time, and space. And above this, in the highest of the Kabbalistic worlds, above this, as an aspect of supreme consciousness, is the archetypal plane. For all intents and purposes, we could consider this the consciousness of Godhead itself. And a specific example of this portion of that level, the universal concept of rest. So at the lowest is a real-life physical rocking chair. Above that is the pattern, the idea of the rocking chair. Above that is the idea of just sitting down in general. And above that, at the very top, just the idea of rest. And for us here on the individual consciousness plane, it's the life force itself. Just ultimately, it's our true identity. In the metaphoric language of Hebrew mysticism, the mechanics of creation and the cooperative symphony of all natural forces of the cosmos are a well-ordered hierarchy of spiritual agencies: archangels, angels, spirits, and demons. We also have our special place in this hierarchy and a special duty to perform. As humans living on the material plane, we are the culmination of the process. We resonate with the full collection of the echoes of the entire creational cycle. Each of us, as a monad of the Supreme Consciousness, is a tuning fork vibrating as the pure lower harmonic of the absolute note. It is the job, indeed, I believe it's the destiny of each of us to raise our consciousness step by step, octave by octave, back up to Godhead. This is the true initiatory adventure each one of us are destined to undergo. And that is the great work. One branch of kabbalistic philosophy views the cycle of the descent into matter and the return journey home as a 10-step process, the roadmap being the schematic diagram called the Tree of Life. But the Enochian system, Enochian vision magic of Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly, however, divides that same trip, step by step, into not 10 levels, but 30 levels. And it is the step-by-step exploration of these 30 aethers, or heavens, of the human divine consciousness that is the fascinating subject of Dr. DeSalvo's bold and visionary experience. And it's also the subject of Dr. Shoemaker's marvelous book on his visions of the 30th aethers, My Enochian Vision Magic, and Enochian Magic in and of itself, including the elemental branch of it that deals with these subdivisions of consciousness viewed in the elemental realm. Just imagine a never-ending fractals moving from the singularity of Godhead into all of this seeming stuff we've got around us. Everything is alive. Everything is a spiritual being, right down to the atom and subatomic particles. So are angels real? You bet. But the challenge is figuring out what real is about. And that's something to think about at Sunday school. But for the rest of the day, leave the church basement, run out, be free, go take off your shoes and go fishing. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other, find inner peace and then go out and make peace around you, please. We're entering into a very adventurous and chaotic period of time. And your only refuge will be inside yourself. So start getting acquainted right now. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. See you tomorrow.